Hello everybody, this is my Captain Marvel review. Non-spoiler. I don't know how to feel about this movie, I'm going to be very honest. I really don't know how to feel. My final score has changed 2 or 3 times since seeing it. I saw it on Thursday. That's why I'm doing this review now. It's because it's taken some time for me to digest. I'm going to see it again on Tuesday, and I don't know. Hopefully it moves the needle for me a little bit more in the positive direction. Don't know how I feel about it yet, but these are my reactions for right now. This movie begins with Carol Danvers, Captain Marvel, on the Kree planet. Now, the Kree are an alien race who has been battling with another alien race called the Skrulls. The Skrulls have the ability to shapeshift into any living organism that they see. And they apparently take over planets by shapeshifting into the likeness of whoever inhabits said planet, and slowly they just take over. The Kree are the alien warriors who are supposed to stop this. So Carol Danvers is part of this warrior race, and her commanding officer is Jude Law. I don't know his name in the movie, so I'm just going to call him by his acting name, Jude Law. This movie begins with Carol Danvers on the Kree planet. She and Jude Law and their squad go over for a mission, and the mission goes wrong, and she crash lands on Earth inside of a blockbuster. Cue the 90s references right after that. There's a lot of 90s references. Some people say it takes them out of a movie. I didn't really give a shit. Starting with the pros. Carol Danvers and Nick Fury. Their banter between one another is something to see. It's really entertaining. It's witty. It's quick. It's funny at times, and I like that her relationships on Earth were based on friendships instead of her like falling into a man's arms, you know, like or falling for somebody on Earth. You know, that wouldn't really fly with me. So I'm glad that she had genuine friendships on Earth. So her relationship with Nick Fury was good. She has an old friend named Maria Rambeau, I think, or Monica Rambeau, or something with an M, Rambeau. So I'm just gonna call her Miss Rambeau. She knew her from back in the day when she used to be on Earth. Let's pause the pros for a second. Let's pause on the pros for a second. Carol has slight amnesia throughout this entire movie. So, there's a lot of flashbacks in this movie, and you as the audience are putting the puzzle pieces together with Carol as the story goes on. Now, one of these puzzle pieces is her friend Maria Rambeau, and I really enjoyed their relationship, and I enjoyed getting insight into what Carol had with her before she was a Kree warrior. Alright, I enjoyed that. There was some genuineness about it. By the way, her friend, Miss Rambeau, whoever acts as her, completely outacts Brie Larson as Carol Danvers. To me, she's just the better actor in this movie. Ben Mendelsohn as the lead Kree or Skrull is phenomenal. He's hilarious at times. He's menacing at times. But yeah, anytime he's on the screen, he's a lot. I'm not gonna say he's a lot like this person, but I was gonna say he's a lot like Heath Ledger as the Joker. In the within the fact that you can't take your eyes off him when he's on screen. You look forward to Ben Mendelsohn being on screen as this Skrull. A lot of people might think I meant he's just as good as the Joker. There's not even a comparison, so don't even start. He's awesome, so that's a reason to go see this movie. Another pro, the action in this movie is commendable. There's good action in this movie, but I have written here as a pro that the action is great, but I also have only half of the action is great. So in my cons, guess what I have? The action. But we're on the pros right now. So half of the action's great in this movie. That half is when Carol goes Super Saiyan. That's pretty cool. When she's blowing ships out of the sky and destroying fools into space. That's pretty dope. As far as the pros, that's about it. What I just mentioned in 6 minutes in, yeah, those are my pros for this movie. Now, the cons. As I mentioned before, there's flashbacks in this movie, going back to Carol's time growing up as a kid on Earth. What else? Her in the Air Force training, like Army training. There's flashes of her and Miss Rambo, and they were fighter pilot partners together. The problem with that is that the flashbacks are very, very jumbled. And within those flashbacks, whatever they're trying to say to us, there's not enough in them. For example, her relationship with Miss Rambo. All we see is them walking towards the planes together and motivating each other in a way that isn't very convincing. So the flashbacks make it seem jumbled, make the story seem jumbled, and there's also a flashback of Mar-Vell. Now, those of you who know the comics, which I don't, I just looked this up, but those of you who know the comics of Captain Marvel know that Captain Marvel got her powers, I think, from this character named Mar-Vell, who's a pretty damn powerful character. They made this character into an old white lady. That's not so much a problem. Or, sorry, I should say, that wouldn't be such a problem if there weren't fans of Mar-Vell, right? Let's go back to Doctor Strange. Doctor Strange, the Sorcerer Supreme, was supposed to be a guy. But there are no fans of the Sorcerer Supreme. You get me? Like, the Sorcerer Supreme is a plot point. So if you change the gender of that person, it doesn't actually matter, because the story is about Doctor Strange. It's not the same with Mar-Vell. There are actual fans of Mar-Vell. So I'm sure to them, like, that's a huge thing. How can you make one of my favorite characters into an old white lady? What the hell, right? But I didn't care. Whatever. She's a lady. Doesn't matter. Some people that might be a problem. It's not for me. Another con. The dialogue in this movie isn't the greatest at times. Sometimes it is pretty good, and those are like when I mentioned in my pros, when Carol's with Nick Fury, when Carol's with Maria, or whatever her name is, Rambo, Ben Mendelsohn. Other than that, the dialogue is, sometimes it's cringeworthy, to be honest. And I get what this movie's trying to do, right? It's trying to females are supposed to feel great after this movie. Nice. They're supposed to feel strong, powerful, like they can do anything, right? Which is true. You females are strong, you are powerful. we men would be nothing without you. However, when there's scenes where a male pilot is saying stuff like, there's a reason why they call it the cockpit. Cockpit. I was sitting in the theater and I was like, is that really what we're doing here? Is that necessary? Whatever. So there are moments like that in the movie where I had to just roll my eyes and I was like, okay, fine. Like, whatever, do your thing, man. There's no character arc in this movie. There's no character arc in this movie. I said that twice because I feel really smart when I say stuff like character arc. What do I mean by that? I mean that in the beginning of this movie, when Carol is on the Kree planet, it begins with her sparring with Jude Law, her captain, right? She is a formidable opponent. She's very, very good with her hands, man. This girl's got some hands. She can outbox you, for sure. And probably most of the Avengers, except for maybe Captain America and Bucky and Black Panther. Anyways, she's a badass. The problem is, for this whole movie, she's a badass. So when she turns Super Saiyan and like unleashes her power, which wasn't very hard, but I'm going into spoiler territory if I explain that. When she unleashes her power, there's no sense of, oh yes, we're here now. It's just, well, it was about time. That's all. It was about time. We knew from the trailers that you can do this, that, and the other. Why aren't you doing this, that, and the other? Oh, finally, you're doing this, that, and the other. Like, we knew already that you were badass. Another con is how she got her powers. To be honest, I don't really understand it. You'll have to see the movie to find out what I mean, but yeah, that's not very clear to me. And maybe that's just me, maybe that's because I have to see the movie again. But to me, I can't explain it without doing spoilers. I'm sorry, but how she got her powers is a little bit wonky to me. And damn it, this is another thing that might only be me. But what in the hell comes out of her hands? I maybe I'm just weird, but I need I'm very literal when it comes to this stuff. I said the same thing about Wonder Woman. I don't know what the hell Wonder Woman is shooting back at people. She absorbs stuff and then hits people with things. Not things, but sorry, like an energy blast or something. I don't know if Wonder Woman is hitting people with love or just energy or her just raw emotion. I really don't know. It's the same thing with Carol Danvers. In this movie, we see her. She wants to demonstrate her powers to Miss Rambo. So she demonstrates it by, heating up a kettle with her hand. Right. There are times when Carol blows a hole in stuff, and there's like an orange ring around it to suggest that she burned a hole through this thing, whatever it is. So there's times where she's burning things. There's times where she's just knocking things back. There's times where she shoots the things out of her hands and she's knocking people out, and it's not a killing blow. I have no idea what the hell she's shooting out of her hands, but I need a literal explanation for it. She tells Agent Fury that it's a proton blast. I'm sorry, what am I supposed to know what the hell a proton blast is? Does a 7-year-old watching this know what a proton blast is? Damn, I guess a 7-year-old wouldn't even care, but I care. I really don't know. I don't know what to think about that, but maybe it shouldn't be a con, but I have it written down here as a con because it affected me. I mean, Captain Marvel was an okay movie. The problem is, after Infinity War, I feel like the origin stories can't just be okay after that. When you have origin stories like Tony Stark's, like Captain America's, like Thor's, like Doctor Strange's, damn, even Ant-Man. When you have character arcs and stories about these characters that start like that, like I said, this isn't a bad movie, it's just, it falls so short of those ones. And going into Endgame, I don't know if that's the most acceptable right now, to be honest. I don't know, man. I wanted to like this movie so much, and damn, I really don't know if I liked it. But I will give it a passing grade. I give it a passing grade because as a movie by itself, I might give it a 5. But as a Marvel movie, I give it a 6.5. And I don't even know if that's fair. I gotta work out my numbering system, to be honest, but I don't know, guys. That's just what I got for this one. Captain Marvel is a 6.5 on the MCU scale. On a movie scale, just in general, I'll go half a point up. I'll give it a 5.5. It's a pass. I had fun with it. Yeah, man, that's all I could say. So I'll be back with another review. Actually, you know what? I'll be back for another review with Endgame, and I'll also do a what I expect for Endgame. So keep an eye out for that. See you later, guys.